What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Gold Label Walmart exclusive figures of Owlman and Vampire Robin. So we have Owlman from Forever Evil. We've already had Owlman, just obviously with this being a gold label. He has the different color change where he's now got a lot of this blue outfit design that I actually really like. I like this design a lot, so it's cool to have that figure. I'm excited for him. And then we have Vampire Robin. So to continue on with our DC versus Vampire storyline, the characters that we're getting. So now we have Robin this time, or Damian Wayne. Looks pretty cool, comes with an awesome sword and a stake, as he's now pretty much a vampire hunter, which is cool as a vampire itself. So awesome to have that figure to go along with all the others. So I'm excited for both of these, so let me get them out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. So let's start off with Owlman, which is Thomas Wayne Jr. of Earth 3. He's the eldest son of Thomas and Martha Wayne, who believed his parents were managing their wealth poorly, so he decided to murder them, and he tried to convince his little brother Bruce to also help, but Bruce hesitated, so Thomas killed him as well, while Alfred killed their parents. And so he began asserting his power over Gotham by becoming the villain Owlman that struck fear in his foes through threats and blackmail, and he eventually became a member of the crime syndicate, but they were defeated by the Anti-Monitor and their Earth was wiped out, so they escaped to Prime Earth where they would fight against the Justice League in the Forever Evil storyline. And overall this looks cool here, so love this design for Owlman. Of course we've had Owlman before from that Crime Syndicate wave with the Build-A-Figure Starro, so he looks relatively the same. Like, the body has a lot of similarities, but there's also quite a bit of differences that I was quite surprised on this. But I think overall it looks cool. Love his like face and like mask design. Look cool, like high techish and stuff, but looks owlish at the same time, since it's supposed to be like Batman but an owl instead of a bat. So I love how it's got like sort of the beak design and points on the chin. You can see some of his normal human skin there, but then the like owl design, so it has what'd be like, the horned owl sort of design there, and then the slicked back black design going down to some feathers there around the bottom of his neck, so that face mask looks cool. And then similar to the last Owlman, and again I'll do a comparison, has these shoulder pieces coming out with what looks like feather designs going down his cape that has this feather design, and it's a nice like metallic-y silver, but it's kind of see-throughish at the same time, so you can kind of see through, which is kind of cool. So that's a different cape detail. And then to the body we have this all blue armor, which looks quite like this like lightish blue color, have the Owlman logo there on his chest as well as on his belt, and we have a different belt for him as well, so that's cool. And then he's got these black gloves on his hands that sort of like sharp claws on it, and then down his legs we have knee pads, and then black boots there on his feet, which should be the same sort of boot design, and the pants have a nice texture to them as well. So like I said, when we bring in that older Owlman, we'll see the differences. Like I said, there's relatively like base body's gonna be all the same. They just changed some things, like I said, that did surprise me. But for movements, we get that'll twist all the way around. He look down that far and up that far, so very little, pretty much no movements at all, especially with the feathers in the back kind of get in the way of that. The shoulders do come up to 90 and of course have like that butterfly joint, and of course they can rotate around. We get the bicep twist, a little bit hard there, but bicep twist, and the double elbow joint that bends up at least that far, so pretty much all the way up on itself, with the wrist that'll twist around and flex on the ball joint. Looks like it's currently up and down there. And then we go to his ab crunch, so just under the midsection here, should crunch back and forth and should be able to twist around. It's pretty stiff, but he does twist there. And then at the waist, yes, should be able to crunch and twist around there as well. Then down to the hips, can come up pretty much to 90, and out to the side can do the splits there. At the hips, no thigh twist, but the double knee joint can bend up that far to the back, so not too bad for that. And then we go down to the foot where it can flex back and forth there and twist side to side with the toe joint on the end. So overall pretty decent moves for him, like nothing too bad or out of the way, and nothing too inhibited except for around his neck is the biggest thing. So overall he works out really good. Now unfortunately, accessory wise, the only thing he comes with is the base. He didn't come with any. I thought he'd come with like owl rings or whatever he uses, but we don't get anything like that with him unfortunately. But we can bring in that other Owlman to compare him. So again, this is from that Build-A-Figure wave. So first off, you can see the difference in the helmet designs. So this one has more of the prominent ear points on that, so I kind of like that design, but this one again looks cool. Like I said, the base body is going to be pretty much exactly the same, so especially with the cape and down like with the armor and everything, all that's going to be the same. We can see the hands are a little bit different, or at least the gauntlet pieces are different. The belt designs are different, so I thought they just reused the belt, but those are different as well. Oh, and the knee pads as well. For some reason they switched the knee pads from these to these rounded knee pads, but the boots are going to be the same. And then like I mentioned with the capes, they're going to be exact same design, but just this one now is a see-through material compared to this solid black one. So like I said, I figured this would just be an exact like repaint, so just with this blue and gray design opposed to this black and gray. But no, they actually switched out a lot more pieces than I thought they would, which surprised me a lot. But then we do also get his card. So there's a picture from Forever Evil of Owlman. Of course, he's just all in black there because you can't really see him too well. But on the back, we have that it's Thomas Wayne Jr. And it says, as a boy, Thomas Wayne Jr. plotted with the family butler Alfred to kill his parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne, whom he feared squandered his inheritance. His younger brother Bruce was also killed by Alfred and Thomas to stamp out any weakness the older boy had. As an adult, Thomas would become a brutal Owlman, ruling Gotham City by any means necessary. But after the destruction of his world, Owlman traveled to Earth Zero with the crime syndicate, but he disappeared following the defeat of the crime syndicate. So there's a little bit more explanation close to what I already said. So overall, I like this design a lot. Like I said, this is probably, I prefer this Owlman more. Like I like the head of the other Owlman, but I like this overall like blue color, blue and gray design and stuff. Just overall like this Owlman just a tiny bit more, but I just wish he came with some sort of accessories or something to go along with him because I think that'd be cool. But for what we got here, I do really like this figure. And then we've got Vampire Robin from the DC vs. Vampire storyline. Of course, this is the Damian Wayne version of Robin. So Batman called the Bat family together to warn them of the plot of the vampires to wage war against the humans, but there Nightwing revealed himself to be the Vampire King by killing Batman, and during the ensuing fight, Damian gets bit by Nightwing, becoming a vampire himself. But unlike the other vampires that follow Nightwing's every command, Damian is resistant and decides to work undercover as an assassin, but Nightwing eventually discovers his scheme and lets Damian go free, where he becomes a vampire hunter. So when I read about this, it was pretty much that he became DC's version of Blade, where he's a vampire himself but also hunts vampires. And I think it's cool that they did that to Robin, because I think it's pretty cool for him, especially for Damian with his attitude and all that stuff. And overall looks pretty cool. Of course, we have had this figure before. I forget what it's from. I always forget the special storyline or whatever the specific Robin was from, but I'll show it to you. But it's the exact same figure once again. They just obviously painted him up to give him the classic Robin colors of the red, yellow, and green, which I think looks really cool. So this would just be a good Robin itself, and we could like just switch the head out. But then we have the vampire head on there as well, so that's really what makes it different. But overall, I think it looks pretty cool. Of course, we have the face there of Damian again. He's the vampire now, so he's got the long fangs and all red mouth. Who knows if it's all bloody or just bad painting, hard to tell. But the red eyes there with his domino mask, and of course, I love his hair all spiked up into the side. And then we have his outfit, so he's got his hood, but with the yellow lining. But I wish they could paint a little bit better on the sides, make it a little less messy, but black on the outside, yellow inside. And it comes down to a chest piece where we have the R logo for Robin, and then he's got the red like tunic piece or whatever there on his chest that comes down, hangs down a little with a yellow belt, green gloves on his hands, and green boots, and kind of comes up with armor on his legs. And then he's got black everywhere else that has this nice like texturing on it there, as you can see on his arms and legs. So overall, I think it looks pretty cool. Like I said, we've had this Robin before already, just repainted, but I probably prefer this design of him with these colors. Like I said, we could just switch out the head. But for his movements, we get the head that will twist all the way around, and he can look down that far and up that far, so there's some movements in the neck on this one at least. The shoulders do come up. Now it's going to be hard to get him too high up because of the shoulder piece here, but it can get pretty close to 90, and of course has the butterfly design and can rotate around within there. He also has a bicep twist and the double elbow joint that can bend all the way up on itself, and then the wrist can twist all the way around and can hinge. Now it's hard to tell where the hinge is because the glove's covering it up, but there it can looks like it's flexing back and forth. And then we can go to the ab crunch, which for him it's probably just at his waist. At least it's hard to tell because you can't see underneath his outfit, but he crunches back and forth and can twist around, so it's, feels mostly at the waist. But then his hips can come up at least that far, so under 90 unfortunately, and out to the side can still do the splits. Has a little bit of a thigh twist on his hip, and then his double knee can bend back at least that far, pretty much kicking himself in the butt, actually above his butt, and then all the way down to the feet that can flex back and forth and twist side to side. And of course it's like the glove, so there's a bit of a cuff that comes up covering up the ball, and then we get the toe joint that moves back and forth. So decent movements once again. Of course some inhibition with the design of him, but overall he works out just fine. But unlike Owlman, he comes with some accessories, so we get the opposite hands of what he's got. So for the right we have a fist, and for the left we have a grip that kind of has a trigger finger, and then we get an additional set of hands. So we have what would be like a reaching out or claw like hand and a pointing finger hand as well, so cool to get some additional hands there. And then to go along, of course, with Damien. He uses a sword a lot, so we get a sword. So we have this sword here that can now be a vampire hunting sword. Looks pretty decent, of course, as usual. As I complain with the McFarlanes, the blades are always way too thick, but it looks pretty cool as this like katana-like sword. So let's put this in his hand. So there, Damien has the sword, so that looks cool. And that is the exact same sword we got with that other figure that I will be showing you. So it's the same sword, just repainted a little. But what's cool is we also get a stake as well. So of course we have a stake to stab vampires in the chest. Very cool to get this stake. So let me switch his other hand out to the grip and put this in it. So there we've got Robin Vampire Hunter now with that stake in his hand, and that just looks really cool. So I love how that adds to the design, especially with his vampire face. Now unfortunately it doesn't hold it too well, so it keeps kind of falling out of his hand. So it doesn't look the best, unfortunately, but I still think overall he looks really cool there, especially with the vampire face and stake. And finally, of course, we get the base as well, so let's put him on it. But as I've been mentioning, we've had this Robin before, so here's that other Robin again. I can't remember what this is from at all, but yeah, it's going to be the exact same body, just obviously repainted. But as I mentioned though, of course it wouldn't match skin tone wise, but we could like put this head on there to just make this a normal Robin in his like normal colors, because that'd be cool, because I really like the look of this body. But overall, yeah, it's going to just be the exact same body repainted once again just for this figure to make him the vampire hunter. And then of course we also have the vampire version of Batman there that we can put along with Robin. So there we have vampire Batman and Robin now together, because that's really cool, and we can add him in with the rest of our vampire characters. And I almost forgot, but we also have his card. So there's a picture of him from DC versus Vampires, and you can see he's got the vampire teeth. Obviously looks much less evil than he does in the picture there, but that overall looks pretty cool. But on the back we have his story, which is for Damian Wayne, but it's just got the normal Damian Wayne story, so don't need to read that because it has nothing to do with the vampire story. But overall, very cool to get this figure. Like I said, I really like the design, especially of the body, that we can easily just switch out a different Damian head and use it as a basic Damian. But I also like the vampire head and stake and stuff, making him the vampire hunter version, so very cool to get this figure as well. Well, that's going to be it for our DC Multiverse Gold Label Walmart exclusive figures of Owlman and Vampire Robin. Both are really cool. I like these a lot. These are definitely like my preferred version. So like I said, there's just something about this Owlman, probably with the blue design, that I like more than the other one. So I prefer this Owlman more, and really like this Robin. Like I said, especially the body with the colors works perfect for any version of Damian. We can just switch out the head, but I like the vampireness about him as well. So both of these figures are really cool, and I'm happy to get both of them. But let me know what you thought of them both down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this review, let me know with a like, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see more of our videos. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.